Hey guys, so today I want to talk about my birth plan. Just to let you know, there is a link in the description where you can download a Word document of my exact birth plan if you wanted to look it over for yourself or you need some suggestions for your own birth plan. Now, before I do get started, I wanted to go over two things. The first thing is that every individual woman's birth plan is going to be different, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. A birth plan is just something that a pregnant woman needs to go over with, their doctor or their midwife or their doula, just whoever is attending their birth. It also has to be, what they are comfortable with, which will be different for every single person. And the second thing I wanted to mention is that a birth plan is kind of more like a suggestion than it is set in concrete. And what I mean by that is that as you're in labor, there can be medical emergencies or things that arise that are going to require you to have to deviate from your birth plan. So I try to think of it as my birth plan is just how I would like my birth to go, if possible, and I need to understand that things may not turn out exactly the way that I want them to. So because of this, I have written a vaginal delivery birth plan and a C-section birth plan, just so that no matter what happens, I'm not caught suddenly by surprise and have to make a whole lot of decisions on the fly. Now, some women don't make birth plans, and that's fine too. The reason I decided to make one is because I am really bad about making decisions as things are happening. I tend to stress out and just kind of say something to get it over with, or just try to please the person who is asking me questions. So I wanted to make a birth plan so that I know in advance what decisions I want to make if possible and what to do in case of an emergency, because I do have that in my birth plan as well. So on to the birth plan. Now, I'm an extremely natural person. I want to have as natural a birth as possible, and my plan kind of really does show how natural I am. Now, my birth plan is one page for the vaginal birth and one page for the C-section birth plan, and I broke it up into brackets. So the first thing I have at the top of the page is my name, and the second thing I have is important information. And the important information would include like any allergies you have, or mine includes that I am terrified of needles. So I want my nurses and doctors to be aware that I have an extreme fear of needles and that they're going to need to basically treat me like a baby if there's going to be a needle involved. And then also under this important information, I have listed that I would like the doctor, midwife, whoever's attending and delivering my baby, I would like them to go over any procedures with me or my husband before they implement these onto my child. That's just how I feel about it. I would like to know what's going on. And so on the rest of the page, I've broken it up into three sections. I have it when laboring, at birth, and after birth. And then I have headings underneath there just in bullet points of what I want done. So when I'm laboring, I only want necessary medical personnel attending my birth. I don't want somebody who's in training, somebody who just wants to view the birth, or other random people that don't need to be there. I also have stated there that when I am laboring, I would like my mom, my doula, and my husband to be there. I would prefer to not have an IV. Once again, very, very, very afraid of needles. I don't want a hep lock. I also have on there that I don't want an epidural, and I would like to not have any pain medication unless I request it. And I also want intermittent fetal monitoring, which means that instead of strapping that big thing to you that like tracks your baby all the time, they'll just come in with a Doppler every few minutes or hours or however they do that and check the baby's heartbeat and everything. And I also really want the ability to move around the room and to use a birthing ball and or pool during my labor. This is why I don't want an IV, I don't want to be tethered to my bed, and I don't want that thing strapped to me to where I can't move around. It's just really important to me that I be able to move around, switch positions, and have my doula there to put warm cloths on my back and pressure and things when I'm in labor. So then we get to the next point, which is at delivery, which is kind of the point between labor and before the baby's born, like when I'm in transition. I don't want an episiotomy. I would like warm oil and compresses to put on my vagina area to help things stretch and hopefully prevent tearing. And I would like to wait for the urge to push as I feel I need to. Like I would like to have a natural pushing. And then I have the section after delivery. And here I put stuff like I want to naturally deliver my placenta. I don't want them to pull on it or anything. I want delayed cord clamping, so I want the cord to pulsate and so all the blood can get into the baby so he has a great start and a great source of blood and he's not like anemic or low on blood. I would like to breastfeed immediately. I want the baby right after birth to be placed on me. I also want to wait for all the newborn procedures to happen until after I've done that first breastfeed. I'm also going to opt out of the eye drops and the Hep B vaccine, and I'm going to do a oral vitamin K shot, which instead of a shot they put in the arm, I'm going to give this to my baby orally because I don't want any pain to interfere with breastfeeding. The last two things I have on this list is that I would not like my baby circumcised. We are going to circumcise our son, but we're going to wait until the 8th day. And I also want them not to rub that stuff that comes on the baby's skin. I want to do that myself. Like, I really want to care for my baby and be the sole provider with my husband for my new infant. At the very bottom, I included some information that just in case I die for some reason, I mean, people do die during birth, very rare, but it does happen, or for some reason I'm unresponsive, like I'm in a coma or I'm passed out, or that I have some kind of massive problem and I need to be hospitalized or transferred somewhere else. So this is information for if these things happen. And the two things I have down there is that I would like the baby to stay with the father. I don't want the baby placed in the nursery. I want the baby to stay with the father, and I don't want any kind of generic formula being given to the baby. In case of my death or something happens, we have bought organic formula and bottles for my husband to use. As sad as that is, and as hard as that is to think about, I want to make sure that my child has the best start possible, and in the case of something happening to me, because things happen. So that is my vaginal birthing plan. If you want to see my C-section birthing plan, you can download my birth plan in the link below in the description box. I'm really hopeful that I don't have to have a C-section. Right now it's looking like I don't have to have one, but we'll never know until we get there. So thank you guys for praying for my birth. I'm definitely trying so hard to trust God because it's really hard when your body is all weird, and I'm so used to just my body doing what I tell it to do, and this is something, it just feels so out of my control, and I'm really trying to trust God. So I hope you guys had a good day, and I hope this video was informative. Bye!